over the weekend. Just like I mentioned, just this is how the top four is looking like. Gor Mahia 28 points as far as 14 matches played so far. Kakamega Homeboys 27 points, only a point behind the leaders, and also a point ahead of Posta Rangers, who are third with 26 points. Then KCB rounding off the top four table with 24 points. When you look at the previous 5 games for each teams, Gor Mahia 2 wins, 3 draws in a row. So this pegs them to in a challenging spot when they play against Talanta next weekend. They are away against Talanta. When you look at Kakamega Homeboys, 5 wins in a row. So they are relatively in a better place when they take off FC Leopards, who who lost over the weekend. So Kakamega Homeboys away against FC Leopards, they can continue their top form. But when you look at Posta Rangers also, they're in a tight spot when they welcome Muhoroni Youth, and they might get back to winning ways against Muhoroni Youth. But then again, KCB also are away against Police. Should Police hold them off, then it will be quite a disappointment for the bankers. Now let's move on to international football. The English Premier League match day 16 was quite a showdown when over the weekend, with big teams like Arsenal, like Manchester United, Chelsea, all falling to their opponents. It started off with an early kickoff game with Crystal Palace, who fell to Liverpool. Liverpool won 2-1. Later on, Wolves held Nottingham Forest to 1-1 draw. And also Brighton were held to by Burnley at home to a 1-0 draw. But then again, the massive disappointment started off with Manchester United handed 3-0 loss at home against Bournemouth, the first ever recorded loss for Bournemouth at Old Trafford. And it was a big disappointment for the Reds. The early goal, which came in the 6th minute, courtesy of Dominic Solanke. And later on in the second half, Philip Billing and Marcos Sensi added the 2 goals for Bournemouth, putting Ten Hag's side in a quite a disappointing and quite a difficult state. Remember, they are in action in Champions League this week in a must-win for Manchester United. So it's quite a tough space when you look at how things are going currently for Manchester United. Of course, the defeat leaves them at 6th place with 27 points, recording only 3 wins so far in 5 games and 2 losses. And this is quite a big disappointment. When you look at the next match, they will be away against Liverpool. And we understand really well how Liverpool and Manchester United, how their matches have really ended in the past. When you remember the emphatic 7-0 win that Liverpool handed Manchester United, then this might be another tough game for United. Remember, Liverpool are at home, and they'll be looking to try and not disappoint themselves nor their fans when they play, and they'll be looking to also continue the top form. Remember, they are currently on top of the league after that particular win against Crystal Palace. They are now on top of the table with 37 points, 2 points ahead of Arsenal. And when you play against Manchester United, we can only assume that unless United compose themselves. But then again, should they go there in shambles the way we've seen them before, then Liverpool are going to make it a goal fest and a disappointing night for Manchester United. Another massive disappointment over the weekend was Aston Villa making it 15 wins in a row at home against Arsenal after their 1-0 win against the Gunners, ending Arsenal's good away run that they've had so far. It was John McGinn's early on 7th minute goal that was the difference of the night. But then again, when you look at how Arsenal played the game, Aston Villa put a lot of pressure on them, despite Arsenal trying, having a glimpse of, greatness in the game. They were ahead on possession, they were ahead on passes, shots on target as well. But then again, Aston Villa have really done well so far. When you look at since the disappointment, the 6-1 nil that they were handed by Manchester City, they have done really well to try, and get back to winning ways. But then again, just like I said earlier on, when you look at how Arsenal the loss handed them was a big disappointment, because they are now at 2nd place. And a lot of questions have been asked, if Arsenal can really maintain, consistency as far as holding the top seat is concerned. Right now, only a point ahead of Aston Villa. You can say that Aston Villa can't really catch up to them, and try and get past their opponents and maybe secure second place, because they are playing seemingly as title contenders. And Unai Emery has his squad in shape, attacking really well. His tactics are seemingly paying off, and it was a case of friendly foes against Arsenal, because he managed the club before. So he came out with confidence to try and ascertain his dominance that he has had so far. When you look at other games that did take place, Luton Town, managed to score against Manchester City, but it was not enough, because Jack Grealish and Bernardo Silva in the second half, in a space of only 3 minutes, managed to hand over, a comeback for Manchester City and turn things around, get the necessary 3 points. Pep Guardiola was elated by the win, of course, missing out his serviceman, his striker, Erling Haaland, due to injury. He was not worried, because he had the likes of Julian Alvarez in his services, the likes of Phil Foden, who played as an acting number 9 in place of Julian Alvarez, who stepped up for Erling Haaland. So it was quite a good performance, getting back to winning ways. So far, Manchester City have not recorded back-to-back wins. As actually, they coming to the game against Luton Town, they had failed to record any wins in the past 4 Premier League games. So it was crucial for City to get the win against Luton Town. But then again, Fulham on Sunday as well managed to get a 5-0 win against West Ham. It was quite a big disappointment for David Moyes' side. Fulham, just like I said when I started off earlier, after the 5-0 previous win that they had, they came off very confident against West Ham. So when you look at how Fulham played, last time out 5-0 win against Nottingham Forest, then at home again against West Ham, they seem composed. Willian doing really well, to try and help and assist the team. The goals that came through were well worked on a team level. They had the composure, they had the understanding with one another. We had Raul Jimenez opening the score sheet for Fulham before Willian also scored. Then later on we had the likes of Tosin, Harry Wilson, and Carlos Vinicius scoring a late goal for Fulham. Five different scorers for Fulham, handing West Ham a massive defeat, and it was quite a big disappointment for David Moyes' side, who have now continued to struggle as far as getting results is concerned. West Ham are sitting 9th on the table behind Brighton, a point behind Brighton, and also they are 3 points ahead of Fulham. So Fulham are really closing in as far as the top 10 of the table is concerned. They can easily get to West Ham should they continue with the good run of form they have had so far. But then again, if there's a team that is currently also not in good form, is Chelsea. Chelsea were handed a 2-0 disappointment by Everton. Now, after the performance, Coach Pochettino was very vocal about how January transfer market that is coming up real soon is where they need to also get back and bring in new players. He was very vocal about the fact that his team needs reinforcement. And yes, you can remember really well that Chelsea is one of the top spenders currently so far in the league, after spending close to 1 billion on the transfer market, bringing quite a lot of players. You can argue that they are not really showing much as far as the names on paper are concerned. When you look at the Sterling in the squad, the likes of Cole Palmer, who joined recently for Manchester City, the likes of Mikhailo Mudryk, there's a lot of talent in the squad. Moises Caicedo, over 100 million, that he cost the club. So there are questions being asked around the players as well. But then again, Pochettino has insisted that also injuries are also to blame. Recently, we just saw Reece James being taken out of the game against Everton, and due to injury. And Pep Guardiola was Pochettino was devastated to note the fact that we'll be missing his services again for quite some time. So injury list continues for Chelsea, and it's causing massive worries as far as the performance is concerned. Chelsea are currently 12th on the table, and this is quite a disappointing place for them, because they are just 10 points off the relegation zone and 18 points off the top leaders Liverpool. So they are more closer to the bottom than they are up top of the table. We are raising a lot of concerning questions as far as their performance so far is concerned. When you look at their games next weekend, Chelsea will be welcoming Sheffield United. Maybe they can try and come back to form and get back to winning ways against Sheffield United, whom have also continued to enjoy a poor run of performances. When you look at one other final game that was played over the weekend, was Tottenham, who also got back to winning ways after a 4-1 win against Newcastle. Newcastle looked really rather tired in the game, and it could easily have ended 4-0, but Joe Linton managed to get a late goal just past full time, that is 90th plus 1 minute, where he got the single goal for Newcastle. But Tottenham did really well. Opening the score sheet was defender Destiny Udogie, who was on target at the 26th minute. Then we had Richarlison scoring on both sides of the halves in the first half, in the second half as well, to boost Tottenham's performance. Then it was the captain Son who scored a penalty later on in the 85th minute to give Tottenham the deserved win. Now, of course, coming to the game, Postecoglou, Tottenham's manager, was under scrutiny and under criticism on how his team has so far been performing. But then again, understandably so. Also, Tottenham are being pegged back by injuries. So it was quite a rough patch for the side. But then again, to see them back to winning ways against Newcastle was important for them, because when you look at how where they are currently positioned on the table, Tottenham they are 3 points ahead of Manchester United, and they understand really well. Should Manchester United can really close up the gap for them, because they are a team that are capable to get back to winning ways. But then again, Tottenham are trying to solidify their place in the top 5 or in the top 4, and that win against Newcastle was a huge statement. Newcastle are now 7th, just a point behind United, and the three teams, Newcastle, Manchester United, and Tottenham, are in a limbo as far as getting results is concerned. So far they have been having back-to-back on and off performances, getting wins and losing in one game or another. And the 3-0 disappointment by Bournemouth can really say much about where United currently is. We had assumed they had gotten back to good winning ways after their recent run of good performances. But then again, the 3-0 against Bournemouth is a huge statement. And just like I said, later on, I'm going to talk about the UCL. But then again, look at, these are just some of the highlights of the top games that we had, including the disappointment by Chelsea, handed through by Everton, courtesy of Everton's 2-0 win. You can see a massive weekend as far as Premier League action is concerned. And before I just move on to the Champions League, let me just leave you with this quite interesting statistic. Bournemouth had never won at Old Trafford and had collected just 4 points from their last 11 Premier League meetings against United. So you can see where how far that Bournemouth the win was quite important for them. But then again, it also paints a picture on how in shambles United are currently. When you look at Bournemouth, since their 6-1 thrashing against Manchester City, then they have collected quite a massive a lot of points, and they have had good games because out of the thrashing against Manchester City, they recorded a 2-0 win against Newcastle, then went ahead to get past Sheffield United with a 3-1 win, then also picked up a point against Aston Villa, drawing 2-2 before getting past Crystal Palace with a 2-0 win, and later on finished off against United with a 3-0 win. So Bournemouth are quite in a long stretch of good performances. They are playing against Luton Town at home next weekend, and you can easily point out the fact that they might get points, either draw or a win. They are still in a good run of form as far as results is concerned. Let us know in the comment section. Do you believe Manchester United are further going down further the drain, or they'll pick up their points as time goes by in the Premier League? Now let us now switch to UEFA Champions League as we wind up. The action this week is one to look out for, as we're heading up to the last group action, the likes of Napoli, the likes of Galatasaray, Manchester United, and also the likes of AC Milan, the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, will be looking to try and secure the place in the knockout stages. 12 spots have already gone, 4 are remaining, and when you look at the fixtures, they're quite mouth-watering clashes. When you, just like I said, Manchester United needing a must-win against Bayern Munich tomorrow. They are also in action will be PSV against Arsenal. Arsenal have already qualified, so PSV, it is just more of a formality for the Gunners. But then again, they can still try and state their place in the Champions League with another win against PSV. Real Madrid, who have already got past the round of 16, they are away against Union Berlin. But Napoli, who also needs to qualify, are at home against Braga. Now they'll be looking to try and seek their place as far as the match is concerned. PSG are in action later on Wednesday, away against Dortmund. Last time out, they recorded a slight win, but then again, can they replicate that performance and secure their place in the round of 16? Newcastle at home will be welcoming AC Milan in what I call that Group F. That is the group of death as far as qualification is concerned. When you look at how they are lined up and aligned, Group F is quite tricky. But then again, this time around, AC Milan against Newcastle, can they get past Newcastle? Newcastle were just handed a massive defeat over the weekend by Tottenham 4-1. And the players, just like I started off by saying, they seemed a little bit tired, maybe due to the midweek action. But then again, this time around against AC Milan, they have a chance to try and come back and secure their place in the round of 16. Just a quick look on how the groups are looking like. Group A, that has Bayern Munich, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray, and also United, is looking quite interestingly. Bayern Munich have already qualified their place, but you look at Copenhagen, Galatasaray, all sharing points at 5 points. Then Manchester United at the bottom of the table with 4 points, and that is why they need a must-win against Bayern Munich, and also hope that Copenhagen and Galatasaray will end up in a draw. Should Galatasaray win, then it will be problems for United. Should Copenhagen also win, then it's the same story, is problems for United. So United, are coming up. They're in a tight space as far as the Champions League is concerned currently. Group B, Arsenal already through. Then they have PSV, Lens, and PSV and Lens to try and fight off for that second spot. Sevilla at number 4 are already out of the picture because they only have 2 points so far. So they are out of the picture. Group C, Real Madrid already through. Then Napoli and Braga are fighting off to secure the place in the round of 16. Napoli with 7 points, Braga with 4 points. Quite an interesting a situation there at Group C. Group D, we already have Inter Milan, Real Sociedad through to the round of 16. Group E, we have Atletico Madrid already through to the round of 16. Lazio also as well, they're in a good spot as far as the round of 16 is concerned. Group F, just like I said earlier, it's a group of death with all of them needing a win and a qualification through to the round of 16. PSG, Dortmund, Newcastle, and Milan have it all to go, with Milan and Newcastle sharing points at 5 points. But then again, PSG with 7, they are in a more favorable and better state to qualify. But all will be seen from tomorrow's kickoff. Group G, already we know that Manchester City, Leipzig are already through to the round of 16, with the Young Boys and Red Bull failing to qualify in that sector. Finally, Group H, Barcelona already through, but it is down to Porto and Shakhtar to square it out, both sharing 9 points. So it's quite interesting to see how the teams will pan out as far as recording their place in the round of 16. As far as statistics is concerned, Luc de Jong, that is PSV's top scorer right now in the Champions League with 7 goals. Then we have the likes Braga having players, that is Alvaro Jallo and also Alvaro Morata, all sharing 5 points. It is very interesting to see Rasmus Højlund among the top scorers. He has 5 goals, but then again, United are not in a favorable state. So that is the wonders of football, where you can have your players as the top scorer, but then again you are at the bottom of the group. So interesting times we do have for sure. So let us know through the comment section. Do you believe these teams will qualify? The likes of Napoli, Braga, Milan, the likes of Manchester United. Talk to us through our socials. 0119803884 is our SMS and WhatsApp. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the program. I want to say a massive appreciation to everyone who made their time this evening. Remember to catch up with us this Saturday as we'll be analyzing and I'll be giving you sports updates as far as the midweek action, the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League also in action. You're going to see and analyze some of the games. Elvis will be back with us this Saturday, so look out for more analysis as well from the team. But then again, from now, I want to wish you a good evening. You'll be with me, your host, Bill Clinton Odhiambo. My sign language chapter has been Esther Kendi. Remember to follow us through our socials, Instagram, Facebook. Also, catch up with our content, Palendania, YouTube, Science TV Official is our tag name. Until we meet next time, always remember to keep it Science TV. Have a good night.